Okay, so when you think of dog sports, what comes to mind? Probably agility, right? Or maybe just fetching a ball at the park. But there's this whole other world of canine athletics that's all about pure, focused strength, weight pulling. And yeah, it's a sport that can look pretty intense and definitely raises a lot of questions. And this is the image that gets people talking. You see a 40-pound dog pulling a weight that just seems impossible. And your first reaction is probably, whoa, is that okay? Is that cruel? And you know what? That's a totally fair question. To answer it, we really need to understand what this sport actually is.
And here's the key thing to get right off the bat. This is not some long, grueling marathon. It's a highly structured sprint. We're talking about a very short distance, just 16 feet, and everything happens under very controlled conditions. That special harness you see is crucial. It's designed to distribute all that weight safely across the dog's chest and shoulders for one single powerful burst.
Now, to really get it, we have to look back a little. This sport didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It actually evolved from the real-world jobs that dogs have been doing for centuries, and that history really shapes the sport we see today. You can really see the whole journey here. I mean, it started out as just pure necessity, working dogs hauling supplies to survive. Then you get to the gold rush, and you know how people are. Miners start making friendly bets on whose dog team is the strongest. From there, in the middle of the 20th century, those informal bragging rights start getting real rules. And that brings us to today, where it's a sanctioned sport with a huge emphasis on safety and animal welfare. And here's a really common misconception we can bust right now. You might think this is a sport just for giant breeds, huge Malamutes or St. Bernards. But nope. Because dogs compete in weight classes, it's all about proportional strength. You'll see American Pit Bull Terriers, all kinds of mixed breeds, dogs of all sizes excelling. A 40-pound dog pulling a crazy multiple of its body weight is just as impressive as a giant dog pulling a heavier raw number. So, what does a competition actually look like? The reality is often way calmer and much more methodical than people imagine. So let's pull back the curtain and break down exactly what happens during a dog's turn. On competition day, the process is really straightforward. First, every dog gets weighed so they can be put in the right class. That way they're competing against dogs of a similar size. Next, they get fitted with that super important padded harness. Then comes the main event. They have 1 minute, 60 seconds to pull the weight 16 feet. If they do it, awesome. They move on to the next round and a little more weight is added. It's really that simple. This quote just nails the atmosphere. It's not a frantic, chaotic scene. A weight pull shoot is usually quiet and incredibly focused. It's all about the connection between the dog and its handler, a moment of calm focus before that big pull. For a lot of dogs, that controlled environment is a huge confidence boost. And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the sport. The handler stands in front of the dog, and they can only use their voice and encouragement to get them to pull. You can't use treats to lure them, and you absolutely cannot use physical corrections or even touch the dog. The dog pulls because it trusts its person and truly wants to do the job. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how, but I think the most important question is why, right? Why do people and their dogs do this? Well, it turns out the benefits go way beyond just building bigger muscles. The physical benefits are pretty obvious. This sport builds incredible strength, but the mental benefits are just as profound. It sharpens a dog's focus like you wouldn't believe. For anxious dogs, having such a clear, structured job can be a total game changer. It's grounding. And because it's so inclusive, dogs of all shapes and sizes can find a place to build confidence and shine. It's also really important to think about the physical impact on the dog's body. I mean, think about sports with lots of jumping and sharp turns. Over time, that can be pretty tough on a dog's joints. Weight pulling, on the other hand, is actually low impact. It's one controlled, straight-line movement that builds power. This makes it a fantastic conditioning tool, especially for dogs that might not be suited for those higher-impact activities. I absolutely love this quote because it's so true. A dog has to completely trust their handler's voice, their encouragement. When the handler says, "You can do this," the dog has to believe them. It is a profound test of their communication and their partnership. All right, let's circle all the way back to that first critical question about safety and ethics. Because look, like any sport, it can be done wrong. But responsible weight pulling is built on a solid foundation of safety, clear rules, and always putting the dog first. The biggest misconception out there is that these dogs are miserable,
But the reality is, when a dog is trained with positive reinforcement, they often show this genuine, incredible enthusiasm for the work. You'll see dogs literally pulling to get into their harness. They see it as their job, and man, they love to have a job to do. So, what does doing it the right way actually look like? Well, it's a non negotiable checklist. It always starts with a vet checkup to make sure the dog is healthy enough for the work. Training has to be gradual, we're talking months, not days. That special padded harness is mandatory, no exceptions. And any good club will enforce strict rules against mistreatment, making sure the dog's well being is the #1 priority.
So if you're intrigued by this, the way to start is slow and smart. The best first step is to just go watch. Find a local club and see how they operate. If you do decide to try it, you don't start with any weight. You start with just an empty harness, letting your dog get totally comfortable with the feeling. Only then do you start adding weight, and I mean incredibly slowly, as part of a whole fitness plan to keep your dog strong and healthy. And that is the bottom line. Whether a dog ever wins a competition or pulls a record-breaking weight is totally secondary. The real goal for any responsible handler is to have a dog that is physically fit, mentally sharp, and genuinely loves the work they're doing together. Cece, for some dogs, this really is the job they were born to do. It taps into something deep inside them and gives them this amazing sense of purpose. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Every dog has a unique set of instincts and drives. So the real question is, what job was your dog born to do?